The entire BNP was just taken aback by Eala. The tennis world and the Paribas Open are still attempting to comprehend what transpired. The coach of Roger Federer anticipated it before anyone else did, and his response is now disrupting the internet. This was not simply another game. This wasn't one more retirement. On the March 8th is International Women's Day 2026 at Indian Wells Stadium 1, one of the most recognizable courts in all of tennis. A 20-year-old woman from the Philippines proceeded to the largest stage of her life, encountered the fourth-ranked athlete worldwide, and fled the court after rewriting her whole narrative. Prior to the night being over, the entire tennis community had in viewpoint. The phones continued to ring, buzzing. The remarks would not end, pouring in. Because of what transpired, not only was it theatrical, but it was historic. Additionally, if you believe you already stay put and learn this tale because this evening has layers that most people fail to notice at all. To comprehend why did Indian Wells hit so hard this evening? In a new way, you must return and recognize Alexandra Eala's identity and, more significantly, the person she was being requested to become. The Paribas Open of the BNP own official tournament report characterized Eala as one of the greatest beautifully revealed secrets, already a well-known figure in the sport prior to having visited the Indian Wells at all. Primary attraction for the first time. Take a moment to think about that. A 20-year-old making her WTA 1000 Masters debut occasion, and the competition itself is making her feel like a celebrity. That most would crack under this type of pressure. Players before they had a chance to serve. But most players aren't like Alexandra Eala. Quezon City's southpaw made her tennis paradise's main draw debut arrived with the help of her numerous devoted followers. Additionally, when we refer to fans, we signify an army. Following Eala's late-night retaliation against Diana Istrica in her Friday's Indian Wells debut, her Instagram followers came from all around 960,000 up to 967,000 during the course of one night. 7,000 new supporters of a single game at midnight in the desert of California. That isn't a player of tennis. It's a movement. Additionally, it didn't begin at Indian Wells. Eala had been preparing for this moment all season. Eala has a 106 in 2026 record on the WTA Tour, including impressive victories over Donna Vake and Paolini Jasmine. She had already defeated a few of the top players on the planet this year. However, Indian Wells, the competition known as Tennis Paradise, was an entirely different animal. This was her first visit to this place. It was her first time with draws this deep on courts this size, with everyone in the tennis world observing this closely. The path she took to Sunday night was a film previously. Eala gave a memorable debut at Indian Wells, enduring to defeat the previous Grand Slam Diana Istrica, semi-finalist 7-5, 4-6, 7-5 in a game that lasted over 3 hours and concluded close to midnight in the desert in California. Eala was nearly gone. Of the competition, Yasta scored 54 in served for the match in the third set. Prior to Eala retaliating, she was one game away from returning home. Rather, she pulled away from the brink and discovered a strategy to succeed. "I feel great now," she declared. Later, "I simply instructed myself to maintain fighting, and I continued to compete." Truly had to search far and wide for that one. Dig deep. Those two phrases would characterize her whole stay in Indian Wells. And nobody, not even those who held beliefs in her the most, could have predicted how far that well would reach. And Sunday night arrived at that point. Hold on to observing, since what transpired subsequently altered everything. The game was scheduled. Prior to the start of the competition, Coco, Alexandra Eala and Gauff were scheduled to meet. Less than 3 weeks following Dubai in what was previously referred to as the most anticipated game of the competition. And Gauff was heavily favored by the numbers. 17 days prior to Indian Wells, Coco Gauff had managed Eala 62 in Dubai. 17 days. There is no rivalry there. The beatdown, that is, a reminder of the precise location of the pecking the order, remained in place. Gauff came in at number 4 in the entire world. Eala was on the 31st. Additionally, in their only previous encounter, Gauff had little broken a sweat. However, Eala did not flee from Dubai's memory. She took it in her arms. Eala expressed her desire to play her once more. Before Indian Wells. I believe she's an amazing athlete as well as an amazing individual, and she serves as an example for a rationale. Our most recent game was fantastic. I always thought she was fantastic. I get a lot of knowledge when I share the court with her. Whether it's a game or a practice, if we were to cross paths again, I would love to apply those lessons to use them on the court. That's a distinct form of assurance, not hunger, not bravado, but arrogance and elegance. It was the last game of Sunday's shutting out a card during a night session that comprised Venchelton, Arena Sabalenka, as well as Yannick Center. The dessert was Eala. The conclusion. The athletes at Stadium 1 anticipated to end the evening. The throng was electrifying. Eala's initial game on Friday, Stadium 3 was full. The waiting in line for general admission seats was over 100 people in the middle. Throughout the game, she was now on the primary stage. No more courts that are too small. No, concludes closer to midnight on an outer court. This was the large space beneath the complete lights with the entire world observing. Gauff was given medical therapy around the conclusion of the first set when the number is 52. She was massaged by a trainer. Her forearm and left shoulder. In between sets, a compression bandage was placed to the left forearm of Gauff. Nevertheless, in spite of the evident distress, in spite of the obvious difficulties, Gauff left for the second group. She had no intention of giving up with ease. Coco Gauff is that person. She battles until she is unable to do so physically. No longer. However, the body had made its choice, even if the heart hadn't caught up yet. Eala gave a forehand smack. In the second, the winner will break for 2-0. At that point, Gauff made the decision to proceed to the net and disconnect the match. At first, Eala was unaware. She turned to see Gauff resting on the internet. The game ended before I even realized it was over. The two hugged each other. And during that silent human moment, two rivals from opposing ends of the world at opposite extremes of the rankings, something truly lovely occurred. But hold on. Because Eala's next statement is the moment that shattered the internet. Don't jump forward. There are interviews conducted after the game, and there are moments. What Alexandra Eala produced at Stadium 1 Center Court was a momentous night on March 8, 2026. In her in-court interview, Eala began by expressing gratitude to all the ladies who have paved the way in the International Women's Tennis Day. Not her serve, not her ranking, nor her backhand. She began by paying tribute to the women who created the sport. She was positioned within the International Women's Day on her largest platform ever stood upon. I wish to express my gratitude to all the amazing women who have cleared the path and those have supported both for other women and for themselves, Eala stated. Coco is one of them. She looked at play golf in front of thousands of viewers on live TV, streaming to millions more worldwide. Eala examined the woman she had just assaulted and referred to her as a role model rather than a competitor, an inspiration. I'm grateful, Coco, for being a fantastic rival and a fantastic role model. I sincerely hope that everything is good and you'll get better soon, Eala remarked during her encore interview. Then she raised her gaze to the stands. Eala recognized her mother, Riza, who was observing from the chairs, stating, I want to express my gratitude to her for being the wonderful woman she is and for assisting me in becoming the woman I am, and that applies to all mothers. Reza reacted by blowing kisses back down at her daughter. The audience erupted. The internet went crazy. A selection of the speech was distributed thousands of times. In a matter of hours, Filipino admirers who had spent the entire night watching the match uploaded the scene on all platforms that is conceivable. Accounts for tennis they hardly ever address emotional content halted their highlight reels to display the complete interview. Even those without prior knowledge of Alexandra Eala's identity suddenly on Sunday night, I remembered her name. Not because of the score, but because of who she was in the aftermath of it. Eala had declared prior to the game, I try my hardest to maintain my ground and to be modest ground since I'm encircled by so many incredible players. They weren't only words. That was a way of thinking. And Sunday night, everyone on the planet witnessed precisely how that philosophy appeared in the moment. Additionally, She had just recently barely touched the surface of what was arriving. Because as I was delivering that speech, the coach of Roger Federer was already speaking on television that would reverberate for weeks. Prior to the Indian Wells draw was even finished. Out before Gauff and Eala had ever played their game, one of the greatest respected voices in the world of tennis had gone public with anything that raised awareness in the sport. Paul Annacone. For individuals who are unaware of this is the resume name. Annacone is a former number 12 in the world who mentored both Pete Sampras and Roger Federer, two of the best athletes in the annals of the activity. When Annacone discusses the tennis world pays attention, player. It's that easy. Prior to Eala's initial appearance at Annacone's Indian Wells appeared on the tennis channel Live and discussed the factors that produced Filipinas unique, and he didn't hold back. She's received a grin that brightens every space. Annacone started. I recall the previous year, when she defeated Eala with a great deal of humility and grace. He wasn't simply praising her tennis skills. He was discussing her personality, the manner in which carries herself, the way she triumphs. For a man who coached Federer for years, the tennis race's gold standard. To utilize those particular remarks regarding a 20-year-old from the Philippines was remarkable. For me, it was amazing to watch her take that game and then watch her play. And keep moving forward since I enjoy her strategy. She obviously wants to acquire better than her current position at 32 in the globe, although she has many positive hand-eye coordination and the capacity to take the ball early and reroute it. According to Annacone, he wasn't finished. However, the fan I usually find things enjoyable because every time you witness players from smaller nations, the supporters are incredibly fervent when they reach the summit, he continued. Following Eala's victory over Gauff, those comments flooded back into each timeline. Social media began to Annacone's commendation before to the event and combined it with the remarks given after the game and the extraordinary conditions of the retirement. The story virtually wrote on its own. Roger Federer's personal coach had anticipated this. He had already revealed to the world what Eala possessed, and now here, she was fulfilling each and every what he had stated on the largest stage of her professional life. The video was captioned by fans of Annacone's conversation with a single term referred to it. And the world of tennis, astonished, ecstatic, impassioned, and capable just concur. However, this is the portion of the tale that no one is properly discussing not yet. Gauff's subsequent remarks and the reasons behind them is more important than the score. When the story concludes with retirement, can quickly get ugly. It makes no difference how favorable the connection between the internet will find a method for players to create a dispute. A few admirers will wonder about the timing. Others will doubt the injury's veracity. It occurs each and every time. Not this time. Gauff explained the feeling of her wounds were like a firework going off. Inside my arm, followed by my entire the arm felt like it was burning. That is not a player's description looking for an easy way out. That's an athlete who persevered despite real suffering for as long as she could, attempting to figure out how to compete before at last, her body refused. According to Gauff, an issue emerged during the second game of the match. We will determine what it is tomorrow, but depending on how I feel being informed that it's most likely something nerve-related. I have never experienced something like this before. I never experienced anything feeling similar to this in the past, she remarked. Then, as the game progressed, it got steadily getting worse, even when I wasn't utilizing my arm for shots that I wasn't even utilizing my left arm. She had nerve discomfort, arm deteriorating with each point. Coco Gauff continued to play. She continued to fight. The opening set was lost by her. 6-2, had a medical break, and had her arm bandaged in between sets and then strolled back in any case, out for the second set. That is who Coco Gauff is. Gauff gave her credit. Opponents level that day, seeing that I felt terrible about pulling out. You never wish to withdraw, but primarily for her since she was playing excellent tennis, and I don't wish to remove anything. Based on how she was playing. Go through that once more. In the midst of handling with a wound she had never experienced prior to leaving for an MRI, Coco Gauff's first priority was to ensure nothing was taken away from Alexandra Eala. That is the epitome of sportsmanship. Highest degree. After that, Gauff used social media to express gratitude to her fans for the messages of assistance she had gotten and stated that she will receive an MRI the next day. She also conveyed a message to Eala, whom she desired throughout the remainder of her stay in Wales in India. Gauff posted on Instagram, "I regret that it had to end this way. See you next year, Indian Wells," she said. Complete statement, she continued, "Good luck to the remainder of the journey, Alex. Always I'm glad to share the court with you." Two rivals, two entirely distinct situations, and both of them in the hours following the game, putting grace ahead of complaint. Collectively, Indian Wells 2026 received something from them. We'll keep in mind for years. Not a controversy, but a genuine moment, humanity at the nexus of athletics, suffering as well as deference. Currently, with Eala at Indian Wells, still alive, the query that all tennis fans have is impossible to overlook. What took place on March 8, 2026, Indian Wells was larger than a scoring line. Gauff Coco fought against nerve ache that felt like a fire and retired with nothing except dignity. The match was won by Eala, gave a speech that will live on in history, and received recognition from one of the best mentoring minds throughout the history of the athletics. Additionally, the previous coach of Roger Federer, Paul Anacone, stated what the entire globe was already sensing, that this young Filipino woman has something truly unique. This wasn't only a moment. Now was the time, and we were everyone present to witness it. If you'd like to the first to discover each time women's, this is the kind of moment that tennis provides. Struck that subscribe button now. Let go of for example, if Eala's speech made you shiver, and inform us in the comments if Alex is Eala the tennis player of the future? We're post each week, and we assure you that you don't want to miss the next.